Hey, Libra, Mel, Intuitive Soul Coach here. Excited to bring in your December 2025 career and money reading. All right, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what the month ahead has in store for you, Libra. All right, let's talk momentum. That is the energy coming through for you is momentum, the feeling of movement. Things are starting to shift for you, Libra. They're starting to open up or even speed up in your career. This is about the small, actionable steps that build up that momentum. You're starting to feel clear about your path, about your direction. You've gone through in the past, it feels like you've gone through a period of denial. That Two of Swords is what I'm getting, where there's been a back and forth or you felt stuck. Perhaps there were self-sabotaging patterns like procrastination, or there may have been fears that you've had to work through. But I see that there is energy shifting here for you, and you're going to see that things start to line up in your favor. Basically, this month, think of the universe saying to you, Libra, okay, you're ready, right? We got this. Let's go. So it feels like there is a dominoes effect, if you will. You take the first step. It feels like things really start to fall into place. Ace of Swords. There's the truth here. I love that. This is about clear vision, conquest, discernment. So what does momentum feel like? Inspiration, right? It feels confident. It feels like you are finally shifting into more of a harmonious energy, because something you have gone through here was a little bit challenging. I see that with the Five of Swords in your career. That's part of your block. But you are seeing signs, right? So you're supported by signs. You're supported by opportunities and synchronicities playing out. So this is more about dropping into your creativity instead of feeling so stuck in your headspace. I see that you're taking that creativity and you're running with it. You're saying, okay, I'm building momentum here towards some of these dreams, some of these thoughts, some of these visions that I've had. But instead of getting stuck in the cycle of maybe not doing anything, procrastinating, waiting, or expecting change to show up externally, I see that you are taking matters into your own hand here. So momentum is a mix of your energy, your actions, and the timing that surrounds you. So things are finally starting to move, even if they are moving slowly. Your first card out here is activation. And I actually see slow at the bottom of the deck. So that kind of confirms this momentum here that is picking up for you after a period of just feeling like you weren't either making a lot of progress or feeling like you are putting things off. This can be, again, procrastination, which is a form of self-sabotage. But it's not about asking, why am I stuck? But what part of me is fearing moving forward? Now, I'm going to do a big talk on procrastination because that can kind of cause us to feel very off path. And we tend to default into these old patterns because the nervous system is hardwired for comfort, right? But the soul is hardwired for growth. And oftentimes we feel like we are caught in between the comfort zone here and growth and expansion. And I feel like that's what you're coming out of, is the comfort zone. You are stepping into that momentum. It's building. You have activation. Libra, it says you are activating your soul purpose. You are receiving gifts. And this is about awakening. Some of you are going through a big spiritual and internal awakening at this time. Now, it's interesting that momentum is your theme, if you will, because you can see on the activation card, there's someone working out, right? He is ripped. He has been working out to train his muscles to get into shape to look like that. But it takes dedication. It takes daily effort and consistency through choice, through also not just willpower, but environment, right? He has to choose to perhaps not go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of sugary or processed foods. It's what he makes, what he shops for, who he surrounds himself with. If he's surrounding himself with people who are maybe a little lazier, or people who are not wanting to grow, people who are stuck in their comfort zone, right? He is going to most likely fall into that default of the environmental factors. And what I see here for you, Libra, is you are making conscious choices. And there's a key word there, conscious. Meaning you are aware of some of the choices that are coming through. Why? Because you're feeling clear. You're feeling more inspired. You're feeling more motivated. And you're seeing progress. You're seeing momentum build. Just like this bodybuilder here. He is feeling that momentum build each and every day, because even if he can't see the results immediately, he's starting to feel them, and he's starting to train the body and train the mind to put himself in environments that are conducive to the growth that he wants for himself, to make healthier, food choices, to make healthier choices when it comes to time. And, it feels like this is your time to shine. This is about your momentum building, where perhaps it feels like you haven't seen a lot of that progress because you've been in the beginning stages of something, but it feels like now you're really starting to see the growth. Just like with any exercise routine, it's going to take a little bit of time, but one day you're going to look in the mirror and be like, dang, I've come a long way. I have, I'm seeing the hard work paying off through that consistency, that dedication, and that effort. And like I said in the beginning, it's the small actionable steps. And that's what's happening here in your business. This is about you awakening your soul instead of defaulting back into the hardwired patterns of our nervous system. This is ancestral memory and inner wisdom coming through here. And some of you are balancing the material world and the spiritual world a bit better, because maybe that was off balance. Maybe you were focused too much on one or the other, and it felt like it was just kind of off kilter, which is difficult for you, Libra, being the scales. You have parenthood. Parenthood showing up is all about healing your inner child. That's going to help you make money. Now, talking about some of those self-sabotaging behaviors, they are typically formed when we are children, especially as that root chakra, which has to do with our safety, security, stability, our basic survival needs being met, because the prefrontal cortex from the ages of 0 and 7 isn't fully developed. We are not programmed to think logistically at that age. We are programmed to take a look at our surroundings. And if your needs were not met in a certain way, you may have some subconscious patterns that are playing out that could be affecting your career. All right. So it says you could be a caregiver, a teacher, a pediatrician, or in any career that's centered around children. Perhaps inner child healing is something that you're teaching about, that you're learning about at this time, because this is what's building momentum for you. When you start to shake loose some of the conditioning here, some of the fears, you start to reparent yourself. And perhaps you've gone through a cycle of nurturing everybody else, but you are guided to nurture you while you work on some of these goals, right? That's not selfish. It's actually about you, honoring what your soul needs and wants at this time. So again, parenthood is a key theme. You have denial showing up here. I feel like this is what you're breaking through. That 2 of Swords energy, that block, that uncertainty, the head and the heart, right? Or the nervous system and the soul growth, if you will. It feels like that's what's being stretched. And it's oftentimes when we feel quote unquote stuck that we are on the edge of a breakthrough. And this is about you living in your truth, right? Instead of living in some sort of reality that is based on lies or based on assumptions or expectations or fears or, whatever stories. Think of the 8 of Swords. I'm just going to see what's out here. Okay, we have the 3 of Swords. We have the 4 of Swords. We have the 5 of Swords. Wow. So yeah, 3, 4, and 5 can definitely be leveling up. Some of you may even be seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. Perhaps, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. You may be seeing ascension numbers. You may even be dreaming of or having visions of an elevator, like taking things to the next level, because many of you are shifting timelines here. That's where this momentum is starting to build. So if there is a truth that you are refusing to see, this awakening is opening up your eyes to creating a new reality. This is a good thing. And some of you may have feared rejection or abandonment or feeling like you were too much or not enough. There's been something here that has felt suffocating, something that has felt very, very heavy mentally, this old story. And I feel like the truth is that you are more than capable. The truth is that you are worthy of the compensation that you're asking for. You're worthy of attracting clientele that's going to help you grow, but you're also going to be of service. You are so, so very capable, and you are starting to believe in your magic more than ever. And that is also activating you at this time to stay consistent, to continue putting out work and feeling aligned with it. And if you're not in alignment, if you are like, why am I doing this? It does not fulfill me. It does not satisfy me. This environment, right? Going back to the environmental factors of activation here. If you are in an environment that is not conducive to your growth, if it has become a comfort zone, if it has become a war zone or some form of mental warfare here, you are shifting gears. You're stepping into that elevator and you are hitting the up button. It's time to shift your frequency here, Libra. All right, you have slow and steady at the bottom of the deck. So something that's been coming up often lately, and it just came up, and I think Cancer's reading was a big one, maybe even Gemini or Leo, but I know Cancer. The words scalability and optimization. And those really stood out because I feel like that's a big theme that we as a collective are going through at this time, especially when it comes to career and like how we make money. And this retrograde energy is also kind of throwing up some of those subconscious fears where sometimes it's important to subtract instead of add. And I feel for you, it's like you have been peeling back some of these layers, but at the same time, you may have felt like you were taking 2 steps backwards as you've been working on kind of subtracting and optimizing and taking a look at where your energy is flowing. And is this, conducive to your growth, or are you feeling burdened? Are you feeling scattered? Does it feel like it's too much? So you're really looking at some of these energies and saying, okay, I know things have felt slow. I feel like you are finally hitting your stride. Just like the turtle, the sea turtle is a little bit slower when it's on land because it's just been born. It's just been born. And there's a part of you that is being reborn in a way. So you're still finding your water, right? You're still kind of opening up, hitting your stride here, but it feels like you're right on the edge of that ocean where you are about to get in, and that it's going to come naturally to you because this is part of your gift. It's part of your skill sets. It's part of what your soul is craving in order to grow and evolve into the next level. So yeah, you are a turtle about to hit your stride. So remember that slow and steady work leads to success that is sustainable. Just like this bodybuilder, on the card, that didn't happen overnight. So it says, don't put anything off for later. If it's time to do it now, December can be a deadline month, right? We have maybe deadlines, or you may be approaching looking at the books or taxes, or there may be, preparations that you have to complete or do before rolling into a new year. So it's important here to slow down if you feel like things are going too quickly here for you, right? Take a little bit of a step back and don't be afraid to subtract. So even though there is momentum building, don't get so far ahead of yourself that you find that you're going in circles, right? That turtle naturally knows how to get to the water because it's built in. It's his internal, compass. Listen to it, Libra. All right, let's dive in and take a look at your current financial energy. You have the hawk, which I love. The hawk here is the Ace of Swords. This is about discernment, right? Using your discernment, using your logical, mind to help you shift and grow. But I also see here that you have this clear vision, and you can back up that vision by taking actionable steps, by researching things out and saying, okay, this is the vision I have. What tangible logical steps can I take to bring this to life? How can I come up with an action plan here? So there are new understandings that are coming through, new breakthroughs, aha moments. This is also the voice of truth. And I feel like this is the kicking off of that momentum that's really starting to build. Think of the dominoes, right? When you knock down a dominoes, the rest kind of fall into place. I always say when you take one step toward the gods, they take 10 steps towards you. So sometimes it's, the hardest part of anything is just getting started, because once you get started, it starts to build up that momentum. And yes, sometimes we fall off the bandwagon. Sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes we get discouraged. But if something is meant to be a part of your path, it's going to keep showing up. And you're going to get that intuitive hit that says, hey, where are you at, Libra, on this project that you wanted to create? Or where are you at in that job search? So it's going to continue to come back to you. And sometimes we stay in denial, or we put up that blindfold because we feel burdensome. We feel responsibilities elsewhere, and we kind of shove that intuitive awareness to the side. And I see that something is loud here for you. That hawk, when it comes through, it has this vision, this focus that is intense. And I have recently had the pleasure of running into someone who does falconry. I didn't even know this was a thing. I was out on a walk a few days ago, and I usually take this trail that nobody really walks on, and I look up ahead of me, and there is literally a hawk on someone's arm, a red-tailed hawk. And I said to this person, I said, you don't see that every day. And I ended up striking a conversation and spent the next 2 hours walking the hawk, or I should say in flight, because he was flying. The hawk was out flying around, and basically the falconer was teaching it how to hunt. And I learned so much about falconry, and they are incredible hunters, but they don't survive. Most of them, I think 9 out of 10 falcons do not survive past the first year into adulthood. That's why falconry is important, because it helps the hawks learn how to hunt, learn how to train. And I had the pleasure to be able to connect and pet this beautiful red-tailed hawk, and even helped it find some of its dinner. And when they spot a mouse, that's what it was. It was a couple of mice that were in this big wood pile that I ended up kind of stirring up. And the mice came out, and that hawk, it was in a tree, and it just took off. And so this is reminding me of like focus and attention, and being able to see things also from a higher perspective, a higher point of view. And maybe there's some symbology also in the beginning stages. Just like the red-tailed hawk and many other raptors, they don't often make it into that adulthood. And so this is about maybe training or having someone help you along. Just like in falconry, the human and the hawk form a bond, an intuitive bond that becomes a partnership, if you will. And so there certainly could be someone here, Libra, that is helping you at this time, or mentoring you, coaching you, that can help you build up momentum. So I love this analogy coming through. This is a conquest. This is a clear vision. And you would know when that hawk would spot something, and when it, had its eyes on it, because it would swoop down with this velocity, or this momentum, this force that was straight on its target, and you would know, right? But if it was kind of hesitant, it wouldn't go as much at full speed. So it feels like you're clear. It's like you spot your your goal. In this case, like the hawk spotted the mouse and it zoomed in on that. It set its intention, like I'm going for it, and there was no stopping him. And that's what I see here for you. Get clear on what it is that you want, set your sights to it, and, and flow, right? Flow. Now let's look at the source of financial blockage here. We have the Five of Swords. I don't love the Five of Swords because it is mental warfare. It can be conditioning that was based on winning at all costs. So it can even be people that have surrounded you either in early growth where there was a competitive energy here. Maybe there was a bit of mental warfare or emotional or physical absence in some way that had caused you to try to get your needs met in different ways than they were. This is pride before the fall. Some of you have even felt like you've been demoted in some way, or perhaps you felt like you weren't good enough, like you were growing and you took a tumble, right? And it feels like something sat with you in a belief system. And the Five of Swords is saying there may have even been some form of bullying, some form of manipulation, resentment, or just knowing, Libra, when to fight for something versus when to walk away from it. Is it something that you have outgrown? Is your career something you've outgrown, or has it fell off of consistency? And really taking a look and getting honest with yourself. Is this still something I love, but I'm feeling a bit burnt out? And if that's the case, maybe that's where scalability comes in, kind of taking a look at where you're at, optimizing, shutting down one of those, 1,700 tabs that you have going on in the mind and being able to focus on maybe one or two things. So Five of Swords is a bit of a block. Now, what's your money mindset? Now you have the beaver here. I love beavers. This is my new favorite animal. Over the summer, I had the pleasure of paddleboarding pretty much daily or every other day and connecting with a family of beaver. And it was actually a mama beaver with 3 of her kits. The daddy beaver had actually died. I had seen him on the side of the river before I had come into contact with the mama and her babies. But I did a lot of research on beavers and intuitively got to build this bond and connection, and they're known as nature's architects. They are builders, and your mindset right now is, how can I grow? You are shifting out of that default mode of your nervous system. Nervous system is in the fight or flight, the Five of Swords, the competition, the manipulation, the mental warfare here, or feeling on very low vibration at times when it comes to worth, self-worth, procrastination, perfectionism, whatever sabotaging behavior or pattern that is played out in your life. You're breaking through that mold and you're really starting to focus on building, just like the beaver. And it's interesting as well because, as I've mentioned, that masculine energy wasn't present. And I did my research, and the mom and the dad beavers actually create this family bond that's so strong, where the masculine energy is very much present in raising the babies to learn how to hunt and to learn how to basically survive. And so this could be symbolic for you, Libra, if there was a masculine energy that either wasn't present, or perhaps you've had to lean into playing the masculine role instead of fully softening into feminine. It feels like this is something you've been working on balancing out. And I love that the beaver is your mindset at this time, because this tells me that no matter what life throws at you, even if you have certain circumstances that are outside of your control, even if you've gone through loss, even if that dam comes in and gets destroyed, you have the ability here to rebuild. This is about dreams. This is about determination. Yes, there has been deception. I see that with the Five of Swords, but you don't have to deceive yourself, right? This is about you growing and saying, okay, I know that something has happened to me in the past, but I don't have to let that hold me back. I don't have to let that be the default programming that I run back to when I am, feeling stuck in my career. You're building momentum here. You're building perhaps a business, a career, a reputation. This is powerful. And not only do you have the sticking ground to build something that is super powerful, super magical, but this is sustainable. This is, a home that's built with structure and it's built well. And that's what I see here for you. So your mindset is growth and determination and dreams starting to multiply. So what is the opportunity here for income growth? You have the Four of Swords. So I like the Four of Swords because right now this is about rejuvenation. And it's that, again, optimization here. If you feel like you have been running a million miles per hour, if you have, like I said, 117 of those tabs that are going on, just like on your computer or on your phone, sometimes in order for it to run well, you have to optimize it. You have to shut down some of what's taking up all of that energy that's draining it, draining the battery. Think of this as your own life force energy. So right now, by optimizing and kind of scaling back if you need to, saying what's working, what's not, what am I investing in, what thoughts am I, playing out at this time that I am backing up with action, because those thoughts, the belief system is going to be in which we take action or even non-action towards. So it feels like you're starting to think in quiet reflection, but it feels like you're moving into the right timing. And I mentioned that earlier as well, because timing is important. You are about to hit that next level. I really feel like the inner momentum is starting to build. So this is when your mindset changes, right? Your mindset is changing before your outside world does. And the sloth, which is probably my third favorite animal, when that's that slow energy as well, but the mindset is changing before your outer world does, but you're suddenly infused with these ideas, Libra, that's flowing through you. You feel fired up again. You're feeling ready to stop settling. This right here is the spark that you're ready for the next level moment. So it feels like after quiet reflection here and optimizing, shutting down some of those tabs and saying, okay, now I'm clear. Now that I don't have 17 million things going on, now I'm able to feel, clear, inspired, less heavy. So this is when the universe responds. You're starting to see signs. You're starting to see and build connections, people reaching out, Libra, or you're feeling magnetized to be at a certain place or to spark up a conversation with someone. You're taking one step, right? And then the next one appears. So Four of Swords is saying we don't have to feel like we are overthinking things, over processing here in some way. This is when those small moves start to add up. Whether it's updating your resume, whether it's learning a new skill, posting more consistently, it could be networking. Maybe it's setting boundaries here, because momentum is created by stacking those tiny wins. And that's what the Four of Swords is reminding you. All right, let's look at the unexpected financial influences. So these can be hidden factors. We talked a little bit about the block being the Five of Swords, but you actually have the Three of Swords here. So this has to do with self-worth. It's about freedom, as it says, freedom from strife. That Five of Swords was the strife. And some of you, this was deeply feeling dissatisfied with the amount of money that you were making, or the lack of opportunity, or feeling like you were stuck in that space of wanting to grow but then comfort zone. It feels like you are moving on from this. And even though this tends to come up from time to time, because I mentioned the word consciousness, or conscious was a key word, it feels like you are consciously aware of what it feels like when momentum is needed, right? You know what it feels like. You've been either stuck, you've been stagnant, or you're repeating the same cycle with no results. You know when you're meant for more, but you don't know how to start. Or you're waiting for a sign or a spark to push you forward, or you're exhausted from trying to force things. And this has recently come up in my own life, where I am so excited to put out these new classes, and I want to put a wellness retreat together, which you guys will be the first to know. And I have all of these ideas, but I realized that I was pushing out 14 videos a week. And it was becoming a little too much. So I had to optimize and say, wait a second, Mel, can you continue to grow and build momentum if you're feeling exhausted from putting out all these videos, plus the other things that you have going on? So I don't know, maybe some of you have noticed, but I'm starting to shift my input, because to me, quality over quantity. And I had to really dig deep into that belief of, do I feel, excuse me, do I feel like I have to produce a certain output for financial stability or for me to continue growing? And I did, where I was focused too much on that physical aspect instead of balancing out the spiritual as well and saying, wait a second, does this feel in alignment? And it doesn't mean that I couldn't put out that much, but I feel like I was taking away a little bit of the true aspect of what I want to deliver in the messages. And I would rather bring in 100% of it instead of feeling like I'm just pushing out videos just to push them out. So I have scaled back. I have started optimizing here, and that has given me room and momentum to free myself from heaviness here of pressure of pushing through. And it's allowed me to kind of open up and expand in some of these other areas of creation. And perhaps that's something you are doing here as well. This is what breaks the plateau. This is what breaks it here, that 3 of Swords energy. So what are your action steps, Libra, that you can take to improve, your finances? You have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords. Page of Swords is landing on your feet. For one, you're going to land on your feet no matter what. You have this logistical mind about you, but you also have this profound intuitive awareness. Remember, momentum isn't created by the big leaps. It's created by consistent micro moves. Like one small thing is going to add up to big things. This bodybuilder here, he's not going to go to the gym for 8 hours and then have that ripped body immediately. It's consistency, it's choosing, it is environment, it all comes into play here. So do the things that feel exciting. Do the things that feel aligned, the things that light you up, Libra. Momentum is coming from inspiration, right? Not obligation. And that's something that I have recently kind of realized is, again, obligation, because when we start to feel like this is an obligation, that's going to be the quickest thing that drains, inspiration. So do the thing that feels exciting and aligned. And old patterns, right? Maybe unnecessary tasks or feeling like you're drained by certain individuals or people that you're surrounding yourself with, clear that, because that's going to open the flow. Page of Swords allows new ideas to be born, new momentum, and then celebrate those wins, right? Don't overthink it. The first step, right? Momentum loves action. So even if it's imperfect, just start, just begin. Progress over perfection. One more time, progress over perfection. That's something that I have worked through, a sabotaging behavior, perfectionism. And so your outcome here, you have the 3 of Pentacles. This is beautiful energy here because it's about collaboration. It's following your dreams. It's literally research, but it's teamwork making the dream work. It is about building up that momentum here and putting it out there and even having other people match and meet your energy. This is creativity. It's harmony. It's advancement. It is about, going with the flow here and feeling like, wow, I am doing this. Excuse me, I can master this skill, or I can step into this next level here. The 3 of Pentacles is skilled work. It is mastery. I feel like you are perhaps wearing many different hats, but that's where you're coming in and you're saying, what hats do I really want to wear at this time? Or what hats can I delegate? Or who can I connect with or collaborate with that can wear this hat? So it feels like there's a lot that you're playing with, a lot that you're discovering and you're having fun with. So detail, I am hearing like attention to detail also is important, as the little mouse here comes through. So this is small, small baby steps is what's going to get you the biggest results. All right, Libra. Some of you could be diving into cryptocurrency. We have crypto showing up, even financially getting more knowledgeable, perhaps with where your money is going, or financial institutions here, how much you're paying down on some sort of debt, or if you have a loan, or if you are putting money aside. It feels like getting getting honest with yourself about how much you're spending, what are you spending on, and knowing where it's going, where are funds being allocated, can you make your money grow? And I see that you're researching and looking into this, maybe stocks. Okay, this could also be some form of class that you may be taking that has to do with like investing. Okay, I'm getting like investing, or it could of course be the stock market, but I feel like maybe a class would be beneficial if that's something you're thinking about. Next, we have follow-up. There may be momentum building because you have a second interview. Some of you, this may even have to do with like a legal situation here that could affect you financially. Maybe this is a court case that you've been dealing with regarding an inheritance, or regarding, some form of, maybe it's child support or a custody battle. This could be a divorce settlement. It could even be like back pay, or maybe you're dealing with a VA or whatever it may be. It feels like there's going to be a follow-up that really pushes down one of those dominoes and it gets the ball rolling. And it feels like this is a good follow-up here. Based on factual evidence, based on, proof that is being supplied here. And lastly, you have micromanaging here. That could be very much the Five of Swords, feeling like people are breathing down your neck, micromanaging here, or this is something you may do to yourself, right? We can be our own worst inner critic. So if you find yourself lost in that perfectionism, sabotaging pattern or behavior, this is something you may be getting a close, examination on. Just like with that magnifying glass, it's like you're looking at something up close and personal and saying, is this serving my highest good? Is this part of my path here in my career? So you are definitely activating something deep within you, and it feels aligned. Bottom of the deck, you have the Nine of Cups. Look at that cute little puffer fish, Libra. Nine of Cups is wishes granted. It is satisfaction. It's pride. Not pride because the ego is boasting in a overly inflated type of way, but it's feeling proud of how far you've come. It's feeling proud of what you have accomplished. And yes, there could be certainly pats on the back and external validation that comes through, but it's not coming from a place of I have to have that. It feels like you're proud of yourself, and it's okay to receive compliments or accomplishments externally as well, because you feel a certain way. You're vibing with this energy. There's a beautiful, emotionally satisfying energy that is bubbling up to the surface at this time. Something that you are starting to shift and open up to, especially in 2026. So this is certainly a sense of satisfaction here, emotional satisfaction and spiritual alignment. Nine of Cups, beautiful. Okay, let's get a message here from the wisdom of the Oracle. What do we have, please, for Libra? Woo! We have regeneration. You cannot make this up. You are definitely going through a rebirth. Some of you may be 46 years old. 4 and 6 could be a significant number, maybe life path or personal year, 4 or 6. This is all about rebirth, second chances, and new opportunities. What happens when it appears you've failed at something? Do you see the beauty in the lesson? The understanding that arises from difficulties is like a seed that lies dormant for a time, right? So kind of going back here to the turtle analogy, feeling a bit stuck, but instead of asking at times, like, why am I stuck? What's really going on here? Maybe what are we fearing moving forward? Then once it germinates in your subconscious, it pushes through into your awareness. Remember that key word, consciousness, coming through. It is becoming apparent that there is a new you, Libra, a new start, a more powerful version and form of what you began to plant in the garden of your imagination has surfaced. You are ripe for success. New opportunities, much better than those that came before, appear like gifts from the gods. Now is one of those times when out of the seeming loss and failure comes remarkable abundance. Do not dwell on the past, because you really are experiencing a rebirth. Beautiful. And lastly here, Libra, let's get a message from your spirit animals. If you can safely do so, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep belly breath in from your nose, big breath in. Hold it for the count of 3, 2, 1, and release through your mouth with a nice deep sigh. And with your eyes still closed, tune into your third eye chakra, the area between your eyebrows and your forehead region. And I want you to imagine the first animal or animals that show up in your mind's eye. Now this could be an animal that flies high in the sky or swims deep in the sea. Your animal could be wild, domesticated, mystical, or magical. This could be a pet that's crossed over the rainbow bridge, one that's visited through your dreams, or maybe even crossed your path recently in the great outdoors. And if you need a moment, just pause the video and come back when you are ready. And for those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, all you need to do is drop your power animals in the comment section below. Whether you have 1 or 5, drop them below. I will enter you, Libra, into the giveaway where I draw one winner around the first of the month and post right back here on the channel. All right. Now, something came to me while I was doing your meditation there, Libra. I mentioned the red-tailed hawk that I had come into contact with earlier this week. Her name was River. And you know how I mentioned that I helped kind of shake up some of the mice that was in the pile of wood? Your outcome here is the mouse. And I said, focus, right? Focusing your attention on your prize. For the hawk, right? The prize was the mouse. And the fact that this is your outcome, this tells me that whatever your focus is, you are attaining that goal. And it's confirmation with that 9 of Cups. Something that you are going after. Not only are you going to achieve, but it is going to bring you that soul growth that you've been hungry for. Just like the hawk, right? Their soul growth. This satiates that spiritual mission, purpose that you have been so much craving, so heavily craving here. So just had to point that out here. All right, you have some powerful creatures coming through. You have imagination. Is this like a cartoon character off of a show? I'm not quite sure who this little pink guy is. I don't even know what he is. Well, he's probably conjured up in our imagination. So Spirit is saying here, open that portal here. Imagination station coming right up. This is about creativity, inner child, which we have parenthood. We talked about that. It's inspiration. So you are inspired at this time. I love it. So come up with those ideas or take those ideas that you have and trust that you are supported as you bring those ideas of yours to life. I love imagination. I don't even remember him ever coming up before. You may be the first here, Libra. Next, we have rebirth. We have the snakes, and you actually see the snakes coming out of their egg there. This is fertility. It's birth. It's health. Some of you may be in the health and wellness field, but I feel this is a rebirth internally that's happening. And yes, you will start to see it in your outer world, especially the beginning of 2026 here. I see that heavily for many of you. Springtime energy is activating a lot. You have the silkworm, another word that mimics here, or I should say the same word. You have imagination coming through twice. This is about feeling impassioned here. The silkworm, I believe, spins silk, doesn't it? Right? Spins that silk. So this is about you weaving your dreams, weaving your ideas into your reality. letting go of denial, letting go of those stories. You're activating something on a soul level that is going to require you to step out of a comfort zone, to not fall back into default patterns. And when you find yourself starting to self-sabotage, you will become consciously aware of it. Perhaps even come back to this video in your mind and remember that you have what it takes to not only get to your target, but to achieve it and feel satiated here. Lastly, you have Pegasus. Pegasus, the beautiful white flying horse, unicorn creature. This is about the muse, right? The muse, the calling of the muse. This is your purpose. Many of you are guided to drink from the sacred springs, to allow yourself to receive the bounty, the abundance, just like the regeneration reminded you. This is also the energy of fame. So for some of you, you may be guided to step into the spotlight, and there can be a lot of fears around that, right? You are meant to evolve. You're meant to grow. This is about you spreading your wings and opening yourself up to this new chapter of your life, right? Taking that elevator, hitting the arrow up, and you are up, up, and away. And Pegasus is your chariot. Libra, that is what I have for you. Powerful time ahead. So trust that whatever is happening here is unfolding for your highest good. Trust that you have ideas. You are rich with ideas here. And if you set your sights to whatever goal that you have for yourself, you have the ability, right? Hawk and mouse, to bring that energy together. That is what I have for you. I hope you all enjoyed your career and money reading. Even though these are for specific months, I put these out a little bit earlier to kind of help you prepare. I love to feel prepared, but also it can flow into your January, your February, your March. So feel free to save this and come back to it for the reminder here that you are activating at any given moment, right? You have this momentum that's building within you, and you are hitting that point in your life where you're about to crash through the glass ceiling, right? You're taking Pegasus with you. It reminds me of the never-ending story when, is it Valcor or Valcor, who, Sebastian is riding on. I used to love that show as a girl, and they would just fly together, and it's really that imagination, but achieving and conquering so much here in your career is also part of it. So it's not just that fantasy, right? It's that fulfillment here, but it's putting in the work. You have the beaver. That's your mentality here. That's your attitude. That's your belief. So this is sustainable. This is long lasting. This is really quite powerful. Thank you so much, Libra, for tuning in. Please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe. Don't forget to drop your power animals. I can't wait to read in the comment section what animals are coming up for you, and sending you all lots of love.